Greetings, welcome back to CS133, Practical Programming with Python. We're on week 4. This is the random numbers. So again, we just learned how to import. We learned what these modules were. There's tons of them out there. So we're going to learn another one today. So the goal of this lesson is to understand how to import the random module and then use it to randomly generate numbers. So your success criteria is you will demonstrate importing the random module and then creating a random number between 0 and 1,000, which you'll use for your final project on the guessing game, right? That's the last piece to this, is making a random number so they can just keep playing your game over and over and over again. And also you won't have the answer hard-coded right there for them to see. So this is, again, one method on how to do this. Remember, import random. If you just straight import the library, right, the module, this is the module, you need to then, whenever you want to use one of its commands, you need to put random in front of it. So on the next one, I'll show you how to do that. But you'll see it's already picked a random number. Every single time I run this, it randomly picks a different number. So that is important to understand as you're going through this. That's how random works. Now, let's be very clear. The best way to do this is random. Create yourself a variable, and then go ahead and paste this. Because again, this right here becomes a random number, and we're going to set it to the variable random. So when we do this, it still works exactly the same, but realize, and I say this because I've had students do this when I showed this presentation, is you don't actually need the print. Remember, we went over that the very first lesson. The print is just so we can see that it's working, right? If I don't print, the program still works. There's nothing to see, right? Random number became a random number. Random became a random number, but we can't actually see it. So again, don't get confused with the print statement. This is what you do to get a random number as you're looking through it. Now, if we look down here, we're going to kind of use an example. Let's go ahead and change. I'm going to change this up first into another one, right? So from random, import randint. And again, there's a bunch of different things that it can randomize, right? There are a bunch of different things. I'm going to change this to 11 now. So what this is going to do, right, from random, so grab the module, we are going to import the randint. So now we don't need to put random in front of that anymore. You're just either going to need to memorize that, or just, again, if you borrow code from someone, you'll need to make sure, and this will become more important, right? Next lesson, we have practice next, but after the practice, we're going to go into SenseHat, and it's going to be a much more advanced import. So it's important to understand that a lot of the times, if you need to understand what these look like, because there might be times that you're trying to add some code that you don't necessarily know how to work, but you need to understand if at the top of the code it has an import, you need to treat it the same way, right? So if they do this, then you need to do this, right? That's what I want you to really understand about, and this is why we're doing the random int as well, more practice. If they import, you need to do the library name, module name, and then the command. If they do the from, then you can just use the command. So it's important to understand that. Now with that, we have a random number, so let's use this, right? So for I in range random, print I. Alright, so we have our standard loop, for loop, for I in range, and then from 1 to 10, right? 1 to 10, we run it. So that was 2, so 2, because remember how this works. 0, and if this is a 2, 0 is not more than 2, so print 0. 1, now it's 1. 1 is less than 2, so it prints 1. 2, 2 is not less than 2, so random was that number. So we can run it again, and we can see we actually got the full 11 this time, 0 to 11, right? We got the full 11. And we can always see this by doing print random first, spelling capitalization counts, right? So at 3, so you can see it looped 3 times, 0 to 2. Again, 11, because we 1 to 11, and I'm scrolling wrong spots, and we get 0 to 10. So therefore you can see that's working. There's many other things you use random numbers for, but this is a great specific. You can randomize where stuff shows up on games or whatever you're trying to do. So that's why you sleep in random or random colors. That's something else we'll use later. Random colors. If you remember back from RGB 0 to 255, you can randomly pick a number from 0 to 255. So you can make random colors as well. So that's why we went over import sleep and import random. Those are some of the most common, and then we're going to learn one in our next lesson where you'll be able to actually create a program, a real mock-up of a robot, more or less, and then I'll kind of bring it all together. So with that, we will see you next lesson.